This podcast is dedicated to the memory of David Faraday, Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin, Cecilia Shepard, and Paul Stein, and to Michael Mageau and Brian Hartnell. This is Zodiac Speaking, a Klaus at Gunpoint family podcast. I'm your host, Chris Garcia. The last confirmed Zodiac killing happened 5 years before I was born. But he was never far away. See, Zodiac attacked members of my parents' generation. And maybe it was an inheritance, like an old family recipe book that came down to me. This fear of something we didn't know, someone we couldn't spot. For even if we saw him, we wouldn't know it was him. And honestly, we probably couldn't pick him out from 1,000 other people we encountered every day. Zodiac was a presence in the Bay Area for 50 years now. It's never really gone away. Every decade or so, there'll be a resurgence, a lot of attention paid. I expect this year to be the same with the 50th anniversary. And it was 1989 when I became really interested, the 20th anniversary of the majority of the murders. The time when there were news reports and specials and coverage. The 60s as a whole were being revived. And in the Bay Area, where so much of the 60s counterculture happened in so many different arenas, from music to art to free speech movements to drug culture, Zodiac was a part of that. And what I'm going to do with the podcast is slightly different than when most people approach Zodiac. Yes, it's going to be a deep dive, but it's not going to be about solving the case. Yeah, it'll be a little bit about the suspects, but it'll be far more about the times. Far more about the cultural impact. Far more about the victims. We're not trying to answer who was the Zodiac. I'm going to be trying to answer, what did the Zodiac mean to varying different groups? In many ways, I don't expect this to stand as a record of Zodiac, but more as an examination of why Zodiac matters today still, and what the impact has been, and how Zodiac helped lead to the resurgence of true crime. Because in case you didn't know, true crime was gigantic in the Victorian era, another resurgence in the 20s. But it was after Zodiac that we got this whole new world of true crime. And one thing that will always, always, always be true. And the day I forget to do this is the day I stop doing the podcast. It will always be an examination of the victims. The human beings whose lives were taken. The families whose worlds were torn apart by these murders. And I hope you'll stick around, because the way I'm going to look at it is going to be very personal. I'll look at the crimes. I'll look at what happened. I'll look at the conjecture, some of the conspiracy theories, and some of the suspects. But what I'm more interested in, and what I hope ultimately this podcast will stand for, is learning the experience of the victims and somehow never letting them be forgotten. To in fact make this less about the killer and more about the victims, the world they lived in, and how it's affected all of us. I hope you'll subscribe. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever. Leave a rating and a review would be great. If you want to write in, go ahead. It's journeyplanet@gmail.com. Feel free to send questions, commentary, leads. If you're interested in doing an interview, that's the best way to get through to me. This has been Zodiac Speaking, a Klaus at Gunpoint podcast. Thank you for listening.